Hey guys, welcome back to Pages into the Past. So we're going to work on a craft project today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make me a steampunk teacup holster. It's like a carrying pouch for your teacup on your side. This one in particular happens to be uranium glass, and so I have to figure out how to incorporate my black light in order to make the whole cup glow, because this is a steampunk item. And so the pattern that I'm trying out today is by Lost Wax, and it's made from foam versus leather. So I think that I'm gonna give that a shot. So I've kind of moved ahead a little bit further than I thought than I wanted to. I forgot to videotape where I was at because I was in a video conference for 2.5 hours, and so I picked up this teacup holster and I had already started it. I had already cut out all my pieces, set it off to the side, and I picked it up because most of it is glue. And so what I've gotten done is most of the construction part of it. So this is construction foam, 2mm, which is very thin. And I'm watching the Lost Wax YouTube video on how to put it together. So if you decide to use Lost Wax, download the pattern, pay him for it, follow the directions. He does it out of foam. I'm using some Yoo-hoo glue. It's all-purpose adhesive. He uses either hot glue or for this particular video, he was using rubber cement because he said with hot glue, you don't want it to be somewhere too warm and have your glue shift. One thing that I did change from his is on his video, this piece here is left open because it's supposed to go over this part of your teacup to help hold it in place and strap it down. But I'm not using this teacup. I'm using this teacup because it glows under black light. So you can see this green here that's glowing, and it'll glow against the plate and everything. And so after I've got it all molded and put together, and I use my little heat gun, and so here is kind of, it's hard to see because the light's so distinct, but you can see some of it glowing here. And right now I'm waiting for glue to dry. It's kind of like watching grass grow. You just keep waiting and waiting. And I've done several steps. For down here, because this is going to be visible, I put my little seam gauge so that the prongs of my clamp don't leave marks into that part of the foam, because I don't want to have a lot of those marks. I'm going to have a few, I think. So I kind of keep adjusting them so that they're more even all the way around and not just on one section. And I think that after the glue dries, I will be able to, the marks will be gone. It'll come back to life. Either that or I might have to heat it up. I'm not quite sure. Because all this is going to get painted. So he uses a couple shades of brown, a little bit of black, and then he uses, I think, a gold. I'm going to use like a rub and buff to try to get some depth of colors and stuff. But right now, I have a couple steps left. Once this glue is dry, you're going to take these strips here, and you're going to put glue on both sides, and then it kind of folds over and creates another layer of strength once you get it, because it folds in half around the curve, and it'll give it some stability there and some strength. And then you add all your parts, because there's these pieces here. Like one is to hold your spoon if you wanted a teaspoon on there. And then if you want a tube of sugar, you find a little tube, and I have those, and you put it here so that you can have sugar for your tea. You have a spoon, that you can use with your tea. So up here, because I've filled that hole in, after I've painted it, I'm going to add that in. It's a little octopus, and that should be pretty cool as part of the decoration to make it, think I made it look that way on purpose. I did, right? So I'm going to finish letting this glue dry, and then I will add these edges and the spoon holder and the sugar holder. And then once everything is good and dry, I'll start painting. Hopefully I'll remember to show you how these pieces go on. If not, you'll get to see the next step will be when I start painting it, and you'll get to see the different things of that. Again, this is a teacup holster by the company Lost Wax. It is on YouTube under Lost Wax. Let me see if I can find the exact name for you. Yeah, it's Lost Wax. It says to get the template is lostwaxoz.com/shop. So I will link that in the video description so that if you're interested, you can go buy it from him. It's not super expensive. If this turns out good, I might try making it out of leather. We'll see. If this holds up really well, then I might not, because I have so many projects to do. I have like 4 of them cut out right now, and I'm avoiding sewing them because one of them is super secret project for my husband. And he'll get the present before this video comes out. So it won't be a secret at that point in time, but every time I start picking it up to sew on it, he comes walking in. So I have to figure or wait for a day when he's not going to come in here. And if he thinks that I'm videoing, he won't come in. But there's no way I can video for like 8 hours to get this thing done. So I will see you guys later or talk to y'all in a bit. I'm going to let this dry, see what sewing I can get done this afternoon, and then come back to this tomorrow to hopefully paint it. All right, we'll see you then. All right, everybody, I've got everything glued on. Remember those strips I told you that was going to happen? We've got those glued here. That's that extra support. There's still a little bit of dentation in here. I'm going to just let it rest for a little while, and those should pop back out because I don't see them anywhere else where I'd put the little clamps. The back is pretty simple. I'd put a hole here because I was going to put that black light in there, but I didn't like the way I would have to add something to hold it in place. It would pop in and out, and then of course when you're wearing it, you're going to be bumping it all the time. It's still an option, but the alternative option that we came up with, my husband came up with, was this like sticky tack blue stuff. And so what we did is we just put it in the bottom of the cup so that when I turn it on, the cup will give that glow inside of here. And it kind of gives that glow around the edge, and it'll reflect from the plate underneath. Now I'm hoping that when I paint this, I'm going to paint this a dark brown with a little bit lighter brown highlights. We'll see how it goes. If I end up not liking it, I'll just have to make me another. First steps that we're going to do is I've covered up my workspace with some paper towels. I've got my paint. I've got water. This water I use in my paint bowl so that I can rinse out my paintbrush, because I'm going to have to make sure that I get down inside these holes so you don't see any of the green. And yeah, and then everything will get painted with the brown. Then the second coat, after it's all dry, I'm going to come through with a lighter brown and kind of highlight some of the edges or some of the shadow area. And then what the video says is to take a little bit of black and kind of just brush it on the burnished areas possibly. And then in the end, I'm going to take me like a bronze, and the bronze will end up going around this raised area. And then like I said before, inside this little area, I'm going to glue this in when it's all done. It was a button that the back was removed, and I think that'll complement it nicely and it make it look like I did that on purpose instead of adding that fill-in piece. That's what I'm going to work on. It's going to probably take a couple days of painting because I want to make sure it's nice and dry. And then I used regular glue. I didn't use a hot glue, and I didn't use rubber cement. I used what I had on hand, which was that Yoo-hoo glue. So that's what we're going to do, and I will show you how dark I can get it with this paint. All right, so I've got the top half painted, and you can see how one coat is very spotty in the middle here. The outside here has 2 coats on it. It has made it more firm because this is craft foam, and a little bit more leather looking. So I'm excited to get this dried so that I can do the back side. But here is what it looks like. The one thing I would probably say that I would do different if I did it again is that I would probably use foam closer to the color of what I'm wanting it to be versus this neon and white. But other than that, be patient, let it dry, and try to get all the little spots where you think somebody might see that extra color, because some of these are a little bit harder to get to, and if somebody sees it, they might actually figure out what it is. All right, I'm going to keep on painting. All right, so here is where we're going to leave off today. There's parts of it that are still drying. You can see where the glue overflow was, so maybe a little bit neater and cleaner there. You know, I also put glue all over the front of that piece before I added that on, and you can see how some of the glue bubbled and dried. I'm not going to stress over this, but you can see how it starts to look like leather. And then tomorrow, I'm going to let this dry overnight now. Tomorrow I will add some of the other colors, fill in the spots that I may have missed. I already see a couple of spots that are white or green, and maybe I'll fill those in with a lighter brown, like a golden brown, I think. And then I might add some darker black smudges. This is all covered in the Lost Wax video, and so I'm just pretty much doing it the way that he did it, and I'm going to do it the best that I can, and we'll see what happens. I keep touching the inside where the paint is wet. So we're going to just let this keep drying and touch back with it again tomorrow. All right, guys, I have finished the painting part of this. And you can see the nice glow with the black light. You can see the black light from there, but if you look at it from above, you can see a nice glow. It's uranium glass, but it's not like radioactive. It's also called Vaseline glass. And you can see I've painted here. I've added that. The only thing that I haven't done was add rivets. I don't know if I'm going to. In the video that he makes, he adds rivets just as points. I don't know if I'm going to. Now, the back is not as good as I had hoped, but again, it's the back. Because when you see it here, you can see that there's a lot of light. And I have the lights on in the shop, so, you know, in a darker hallway, this is going to be just fabulous to look at. So things that I would probably do different. I would probably use the brown foam, the 2mm foam, instead of the green and the whites, because I see little areas that the color bleeds through. And when you're painting and you're rubbing, I use just basic Walmart brand acrylic paint. I didn't use any specialized, and he has a specialized one that's supposed to stretch with the foam. I can see where some of my green is kind of there, but I'm okay with that because this is something that's not going to be used in major events. I'm not doing a competition. This is kind of like first time for fun, and if I wanted to, I could probably make this out of leather in a lot of the same ways, and instead of gluing, I would be having to hand stitch or having to rivet. It's not what I wanted to do today. So I'm going to call this product done, and give me a big thumbs up if you like it. And I know this is not your normal sewing video, but keep sewing, keep on being creative, and just don't ever give up. Just keep pushing forward. So, all right, guys, see you in 2 weeks.